A wonderful good evening and welcome to another episode of Women in STEM. My name is Awakante, your regular host, and um, every week we sit with remarkable Gambian women who are not just thriving in science, in technology, engineering, and mathematics, but also shaping the very systems that move our country forward. And today, I think we're going to have a very interesting discussion because we are talking about data. And when we talk about data, it's something that live in our computers, in our giant servers. But the truth is that we all use data every single day. Think about it. When you check the sky before you hang your clothes, when you compare prices at the market, or when you decide which road you want to take to avoid traffic, that is data driven decision making. We are all data analysts in our little ways in our everyday lives. But today we are talking about the real science behind it. We're talking about data science, how it's shaping the Gambia's future and how women are really contributing to that. We are exploring how women are using data to solve real problems affecting Gambia, got to guide smarter decisions and to drive sustainable development across the Gambia. My guest today is a woman in this area. She is a data engineer and she is the chief financial officer at Go Minds Academy. She is a trailblazer who is using her expertise to lead teams, to empower others, and to show that women really belong at the center of technology and innovation. Um, they welcome to Women in STEM, and thank you very much for being here with us today.
Thank you so much for having me out. My name is Lei Sambu. I'm a data engineer and then a former CFO at Go Minds Academy. Not currently the CFO actually.
Oh,
So I
former. I
yeah,
sorry
it's
about that.
fine.
Thank you for
It's
that
okay. It's fine.
clarification.
That's okay. So yeah, basically I'm actually from CRR, a place where education for girls is actually limited, right? But unfortunately,
Mhm.
I was lucky to be among those that graduated from the University of the Gambia, and then I
Mhm.
guess I became the first female graduate from my entire village, and we hope to have many more graduates as well. Yeah.
MashaAllah, that is beautiful. I congratulations on that. And yeah, I hope that in the near future we have more graduates that area of the Gambia. Like today we are talking about data science, women in data science. Now, to start, if you could describe data using something that we all experience in the Gambia in our in our daily lives, what would it be? How would you describe it?
Okay, that's really interesting. I'm actually someone who's so passionate about data, and unfortunately, I was lucky enough to be in that field. So
Mhm.
basically, when one talks about data, is literally anything that helps you make a decision. For example, I guess in your introduction, you gave an example. Let's say, for example, probably let's talk about human analytics, for instance.
Mhm.
Probably you have a lot of engagements, a lot of things on your day-to-day activity, so you get to see, oh, okay, I'm supposed to do so and so today, but then now I guess starting with this will make more sense and it will help me be more productive and efficient. So that
Mhm.
you've taken a decision using data, but that's about human analytics in general. And then when it comes to, let's say, for example, in healthcare, in agriculture, in education, for example, um, I will just use the healthcare for example because I'm so
Mhm.
passionate about the health sector, and hopefully one day we'll make that big change in the healthcare sector. Let's say, for
Okay.
example, yeah, let's say a doctor has a patient, and then he or she has collected different data of the patient, probably what the patient is suffering from, and then what diagnosis has been done, and then what medications to be given to that patient. So then what
Mhm.
happens if the patient has taken all those medications, and then the next day, now you come to examine. So you'll be like, okay, has this person getting better from what he or she has been diagnosed with or not? So now in
Mhm.
that case, you have taken a decision based on the diagnosis or the description that the person has given. That's what we call descriptive analytics. And then you're able to make a decision whether the person is suffering from so and so, or the person from suffering from this, or the person is suffering from that. So basically, that's using data. And I guess, in almost every aspect of our life, we're using data. We just, some of us probably are not just that literate to know that we're using data to make decisions, but then that's the reality.
Indeed. I think we all use data every day in our lives. Like you said, sometimes we don't even know we are using data to make the decisions that we make. But yeah, thank you very much for that brief description. We will get back to data in a minute, but first, I want you to take us through your educational journey. From where it all started to how you eventually became a data engineer at Go Minds Academy. Take us through that interesting journey. I am sure it's definitely interesting.
Yeah,
We would love
definitely
to
it is.
listen.
Actually, it's so interesting. Sometimes it's even funny if I have to share my story and how I started and then talk to where I am today. Alhamdulillah. So basically, starting from my education at the provinces, I did my entire schooling at the provinces. I just came in the combos, I guess, around 2016. Yeah, that's for my high school. So I
Mm.
did my primary in my village, my junior, and then yeah. So I was fortunate to get a good result in my I think Gavesi, something like that, right? I forgot some of these
Okay.
examinations. Yeah, so I came to the combos and then I did my high school in ABC Senior Secondary School, one of the best schools in the Gambia.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
so but then my field was commerce because I was so passionate about science, but then I was like I could not do it because my grade in science was kind of not good. But of course, that
Mm,
is because of the schooling in the provinces. Sometimes you don't have good teachers, and then different problems that we actually had to face. So
mhm.
after I graduated, so I was like, okay, since I cannot do science, let me just decide to go with commerce then. So I did commerce in my high school, and then one of the best students in the class. And then after I graduated, I got admission to the university, and then I studied mathematics. So that was also an
Wow.
issue because I started studying economics, but then due to one of the reason was I didn't get scholarship. Of course,
Mm,
always very difficult to get scholarship in commercial areas, especially in the Gambia.
mhm.
So I was like, I nearly deferred, and unfortunately, I got scholarship from MRC to finish my studies at the university. So, but then
Okay.
before I finished, that was around 2021. Yeah, 2021, 2022, I joined Governments Inc., not the academy actually. So I started with Governments because they
Mhm.
are two separate entities, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I started with Go Minds. At first, I guess I was learning basic HTML, CSS, basic programming. I was into different stuff, but I
Mhm.
think sometimes these are some of the processes that one has to go through before figuring out a specific direction.
Indeed.
So yeah, I started as a programmer using JavaScript, HTML, CSS. Then from there, then from there I joined the data team, the BI team, data and then BI.
Mm,
That's the business intelligence team. So I started being an analyst, working with data every time, building dashboards, helping companies making decisions from their data, helping them understand their data and then making best use of it. So
mhm.
yeah, and then from there, then I started also teaching data analytics in Government's Academy. And I taught for
Okay.
I think it's about a year or two
Mhm.
as a data analytics instructor. And then yeah, I fell in love with the entire like anything that has to do with the deal with data. Like I'm just in for it. And then there's this guy that always used to call me the data girl. Like he's one of the co-founders of GoMind because I was so
Okay.
passionate about data. And then when I finished my when I actually taught for about a year or so, I'm still teaching in Government Academy, but now as I did teaching data science, not analytics anymore. So
Okay.
that there, I actually like a lot of things that I had to skip. I even forgot. Like it's been a long journey. And then I guess after being an instructor, I was into the BI team. Then I guess around last year, so I was promoted as the head of, oh, I think around January, something like that. Or before
Mhm.
January, if I could remember. But it's around last year, roughly, I could say. So I was promoted
Mhm.
as the head of the data and then the BI team. And then
Mhm.
we had a lot of interns, about 4 or 5 of them. And then I trained them, projects were given to them. And alhamdulillah, they deliver. Like those guys are experts now in different areas. Yeah.
Nice,
So
nice.
yeah, so from there and then till recently, about 3 months ago to 4 months, then that was time was like I was more into analytics, and then I was shifted to join the data engineering team. So that,
Mm,
yeah, because in as much as we have a lot of analysts, but we need engineers that build the pipeline that connect the data to help data
mm.
scientists and data analysts make their work more effectively. So I started learning some of these data engineering technologies, and then yeah, oh, that's where I am right now, dealing with a lot of problems every day, trying to make so different fragmented data are into one unified system or one unified storage. So basically, that is it. And then I guess I was also a CFO of Go Mines Academy. You know how Go Mines work, multitasking, right?
Yeah.
Data, and then also dealing with the finances, dealing with students. It was never
Mhm.
easy dealing with students. So until now, I have an assistant, and then hopefully she performs well. And then, yeah, she is really performing well. And then we will get there with time. So I think it was last month that she's been promoted, and then now I focus solely on data engineering.
Wow, that is an inspiring story. And I really am inspired, and I am sure that other girls and young women that have a passion for tech and data are already really taking their seat, like to watch this to the end. Because personally, for me, I am intrigued. I somehow your story really uh kind of sparked something, because okay, this is you as somebody who was a commerce student, and you went to even at the University of the Gambia, you studied you majored mathematics, and then you went to computer science. I mean, you went to tech, you went into data, and now you are a data engineer. But like, I love how your journey blends both the technical and managerial sides of STEM, the finance aspect, the management, the technical aspect. It's kind of a proof that women can thrive in any space that they set their minds into, and they can multitask and all of that. But now, what really sparked your interest in tech in the first place? Because like you said, you were a mathematics student, you were a commerce student. What made you get into tech?
I guess one of the first reasons is curiosity. So I think at first that is when we got the Morocco scholarship before going to Morocco. So I actually had though I knew how to use a PC, probably just open my documents and stuff like that. But then my Windows was expired or something like so. It was so annoying. Every time it would give me a pop-up that I think you need to update. So I thought it was a big issue. So I got panicked. And then of course now my husband, no, he's my, I guess, my best friend. He's the one that took me to go and to go and actually, because one of my mentors directed me to him. He
Mhm.
was like, there's this guy, he's studying computer science and he's good with computers, maybe he can help you fix your laptop. So I took it to him. Then when I went
Okay.
to Go Mines, I saw the boys and a lady that's Baji, she's our director right now. I think at that time you were there as well. So
Yeah.
I like I see people on their pieces like coding, typing, doing it fast. I was like, wow. I just wish one day I could be like them. I was so inspired. I thought, nah, this is something that only few people are meant to do. So I thought that it was not for me, but I was really inspired. I was like, I just wish one day I could be like them. So I
Mhm.
asked MS, I'm like, what does it take to be part of this people? It was like, it's simple. Just come to Go Mines early every day and then be serious. If you're given a task, make sure you deliver on time. But then I just loved computers in general, operating
Mhm.
it, type, especially the typing aspect. That was so fancy to me. So yeah, I started going to governments, and then from there I attend presentations, I see questions that were asked to them.
Mhm.
Sometimes I make few research, and I was not actually research, so the type that actually do research a lot. But let's say some of
Mhm.
this technology, because most of the time if you do presentation, people will ask you questions. And then sometimes if you cannot answer, you have to go and then make some research. But then that's the interesting part of doing research. Like you do a research on one specific thing, and then you get to find out or figure out something new. So that was how I built my interest with technology. And then now I'm even more interested in the field. Like it's just amazing.
It's beautiful how most of the people that are passionate about STEM, often begin with curiosity. And especially for women, I think it's about believing that, you also belong in those spaces, because you first come to some place to just fix your laptop, and then you see people doing something, you're curious about it, and you're like, okay, I think I also believe in, belong in this space. And then I think I remember, having you, being with you at some point at Go Mines. I believe you met me there at some point, going through that same process. Unfortunately for me, I had to put it on hold and
You know.
come to Morocco for studies. But it was great, and I hope that when I come back to the Gambia, I'll still have a space at Go Mines,
Yeah, hopefully,
inshallah, and
Shani.
hopefully
Don't
as
worry.
the
By then
data
you'll be an
scientist
expert
or a
already,
data
so you'll be
analyst.
highly welcome.
MashaAllah, that is a very interesting story there about your inspiration to join tech. But now, what barriers do you think? I mean, have you faced as a woman in this space, starting out, especially from someone with a different background, with a mathematics background, a commerce background? What are those barriers that you face, and how did you overcome them?
Well, I guess a lot of them actually. Probably if we're going to list them, it will not. It will take more than an hour, right? But then actually, that's what it takes for one to survive. But
Mm-hmm.
then let's say first thing is when one has a very big gap to cover. Let's say, for instance, like maybe you're given a task with another guy, for example, in the same office, right? So what happened is like there's a huge gap that you need to cover, especially competing with the M gender, the male, of course.
Mm-hmm.
So you've been given a task, and then you're supposed to present within a day. And as a lady, you just have few hours in office, and then at home you're dealing with chores. Like you don't even have time for your computer. So
Mm-hmm.
imagine most use, and you're supposed to finish the task within a week or less than that, and then you've
Mm-hmm.
been given a partner. You're working in the same on the same task with someone else that is a male, and they're able to do it within one night. So it's like that frustration. You don't have enough time to be able to compete with them. So most of the time, like it's just so hectic and difficult. And then if you're not that strong, you tend to give up. You're like, this is not actually for me. And then that's
Mm-hmm.
one thing. Another thing also could be resource wise, and I guess that is actually a general problem, a general barrier to most people in the tech sector. Let's say, for example, when it comes to resources, it entails a lot, right? Let's say first thing, having a good computer, having another important thing also is connectivity, connection issue, because most of the
Mm-hmm.
time you're dealing with the tax and then you do not have good internet, and you have a deadline to meet, and there's no excuse for that. So sometimes what you do is you have to buy your own data and then hotspot your PC. That's the only thing that
Mm-hmm.
you, especially when a lot of people are connected. And then that is a very big issue. And then most importantly, if you're not financially strong, I really struggled with that, because having to
Mm-hmm.
know that I have a deadline to meet, I have a tax to finish, and I do not have a good internet to finish my tax, it wasn't easy. And then most of the time too, another barrier that we also face could have been family, for example. Let's say
Mm-hmm.
most families are not into tech. It's not like they're not into, but I guess the awareness is not there. So
Mm-hmm.
there's no motivation you get from them. And then what happened is they see you with your laptop always. They think that you're doing something useless because you're not doing something physical, right? So
Mm-hmm.
and then they're like my mom used to tell me, she was like, the work I had that the work you do is not good, so you need to quit and work for the government. And like, lot of things from families, especially from other people that are not educated. So it was an issue, like, but alhamdulillah, we had to come through that. And then also there's one issue again that I guess, but it's fine. We just have to discuss and then make it open so that other people will know that these are the realities. And another
Mm-hmm.
thing, another barrier that we also face is, I guess, having probably people you look up to. Because let's say, for example, if that is like a problem, sort of, and then also, yeah, it's a barrier, I could say. Like,
Okay.
let's, for example, if you're in the sector and then you don't have people that you could look up to or someone to clearly, maybe especially a female that will create that roadmap for you. Because let's say for male, they can give you the guide, they can give you the guides, and
Mm-hmm.
then provide you a roadmap and a path that you can follow. But what happens is they're not the same as you, they're not in your position, right?
Mm-hmm.
So and then as a lady, you have chores to do, you have a lot of other engagements at home, unlike the men. So most men do not feel that pressure. But as a lady,
Mhm.
you have that pressure, and then you don't have someone that you could communicate to about the issues you face. Is another
Mhm.
thing. Like, you don't have people that speak the same language that you do, and that is a
Mhm.
very big problem. Like, you have an issue, you don't have someone to communicate. Sometimes you're frustrated with work. Like, it's always important you have that person that speak the same language with you, someone that can give at least a sense of motivation, a sense of courage, and then you'll be able to work with that person. And then you can communicate with that person and then you can work together. So I guess all in all,
Um, we have lost Day there. I am pretty sure that she is battling with internet problems. But today we are talking about women in data science for sustainable um, digital solutions. And Day there was talking about, some of the barriers that she has been facing as a woman in this space, in tech, in data science in general, and it has been a hurdle. And she talked about how, it's difficult as a woman that you don't have normally in today, especially. I mean, today we've seen a lot of improvement, but before, when she was starting out, I remember being with her at Go Minds. I can attest to this. We had similar problems. We did not have a lot of ladies that we can look up to. In the environment, when you turn around, you're seeing only males. We've seen very very few females. I believe it was just me and they and one other lady in the entire establishment who are ladies. And it's difficult when you don't have a lot of women to look up to, in spaces like this. She also talked about how women have a lot of pressure at home in terms of, chores. You have to, for example, you're given a task and you have to, sometimes you are forced to stay in the office to do, to continue your task, because she also talked about connectivity issues, because when you go back home, you don't have a lot of you don't have internet to connect to, so sometimes you're forced to stay at the office for a long time. And as a woman, it's difficult because you have some chores to do at home. You're not the same as your male counterparts. You cannot be at the office for a long time, for into the night. It's really difficult. I'm glad that you've joined us back, and they I believe you had some internet issues, but
sorry about that. Electricity is this another problem in the Gambia. So I bought some megabyte, but it was finished. I actually forgot to solve as much as I could, but I just did.
mm,
So I hope we will not get a
I
connection
can
issue
imagine.
again. Yeah.
I can
So
imagine.
yeah, sure. So also, I guess on your question too, you asked about how I overcome some of those barriers, like some of the
Mhm,
issues I face. Let's
mhm,
say one thing is, when it comes to the gap that we are supposed to cover as ladies, like when it comes to some of the tasks that we are supposed to achieve within a week or a day or two, it depends on how long or the duration of the project that you've been given. So
mhm,
what happened for me most of the time, what I did was, that's why it, but then people are different, like people's schedules are different. So what I usually do is, let's say for example, those days I usually come to office earlier than the
mhm,
work time. So if I know that, let's say I'm supposed to start work by 9, like we clock in by 9 a.m.,
mhm,
so I will try and then be in the office by as early as 8 or 8:20 or 8:30. Before 8:30 I'll be in office, and I
mhm,
make sure some of the tasks that were left unfinished before I went home are accomplished. And I also I get to do some other research about some of these new technologies, how best I can work more effectively and productivity and then more productive rather. But I guess all in all as well, it depends on how much research you have made,
mhm,
especially if you're in the tech sector. Let's say, for example, you've been given a problem, you're supposed to use one specific tool. Probably there could be an easier and faster way to get that problem down, to solve that issue.
Mhm.
But if you're not constantly making research, like you need to be on the same level. You need to play that catch up game. Like
Mhm.
you just have to be on top of stuff. And then with that, you could do it with as much research as you could. Another thing also is, let's say, when it comes to not having people that speak the same language. Because let's say, for example, even that issue also, even from friends, like they discourage you a lot. They're like, "You are a lady. You this a male dominant sector. Like, what are you supposed to
Mhm.
do this? Why are you supposed to be in this sector? Why don't you just go work for the government or work for so and so sector?" Because most of my friends are actually working with the government, and mashallah, they're doing amazingly well. But then
Mhm.
that is not me. That is not what I want. I cannot actually. I'm not saying I cannot work for the government, but then it depends. Unless when the government has reached that level where everything is digitalized, and then we don't have to deal with pen and paper anymore. That's the time that I'm like, probably that with the time I could be able to work with them. But then for now, I don't think I'll be able to. So yeah, like some of you have people that will not motivate you, that will always demote you, and then be like, what you're doing is not, like, it's not worth it in the end. And then another
Mhm.
thing also is one important thing that I think that's actually, should I say, a global problem or Gambian problem. Like Gambians want to see the return early. Like when it
Mhm.
comes to investment or even anything, we just want to see the output. Like you invest into something today, and then tomorrow you're just well off. Tomorrow you're just up there. Like everybody gets to know you. You're wealthy. You're rich. You have your own car. And then the tech sector doesn't work like that. Like you really need to put in the effort. You need to sacrifice everything that you have. Put it all. Like you don't have to care about what people say. You don't have to
Mhm.
care about what your friends have or what they don't. You just have to stick to what your goal is, what your mission is, and then what your
Mhm.
vision is actually.
Mhm.
So I guess, yeah, it depends too. And then also the environment that you're in, especially if you're in a household whereby none of them is tech oriented, like it's an issue honestly, because you will want to have your own privacy, use your computer, do some research, but they're like, probably you just, you're someone that doesn't socialize, you just want to be alone, you don't want to mingle with people. Like they always have the
Mhm.
wrong perspective of you. And then if you're someone in the tech sector and you want to listen to what people say, you won't go anywhere. Sometimes you just have to let go of, or just get to ignore what people say until one day they say that, oh, okay, so this is what so and so has been doing. Yeah.
Mhm. I think those are important reflections because your story has shown that resilience does not really mean that there are no challenges. Seeing you, maybe somebody watching might be like, okay, this guy is a data engineer. This woman is a data engineer, but that they don't really know what has happened in the background, everything that you had to go through the process, and it means that you face those challenges and you kept going. I think that is really inspiring. Um, Especially when you talk about data and data science, we have very very few women in that sector in the Gambia, and that even brought has brought me to my next question. Why do you think that more women should really consider careers in data science? What is in it for women?
Eh, that is interesting, actually. It's a really interesting question. I guess number one thing is, I will start with this saying. They're like, if you want to make a society good, just make one woman good, and then the whole society will be good. So if you look at it from that perspective, let's say, for example, right now, most people think that when it comes to data science, when it comes to data analytics, or let's say data in general, or world of technology in general, it's not for ladies. Because
Mhm.
why do they think that? Because first thing is like, okay, the job is hectic, like they cannot handle the pressure. When there's nothing, I believe there's nothing that women cannot do. And then also when it comes to some of the decisions that have been taken by some, let's say, either the government or other individuals or some people from high levels, let's say, for example, when it comes to health aspect, that you want to
Mhm.
integrate technology with the healthcare, and
Mhm.
then this, and then when it comes to now every issue in the society, with every issue, every problem directly affects women. So what
Mhm.
happened is, let's say a male is supposed to make a decision with the aspect of, let's say, for example, what's the name again? What's the name again? Let's say when it comes to menstrual hygiene, right? we're supposed to
Mhm.
integrate technology and then be able to help for better solutions for the ladies. And it's a man that is doing this decision, that is making this decision on behalf of the woman. So it's actually, they do not get the actual feel. They don't know how the ladies actually feel when they're in so and so circumstances. So,
Mhm.
like as the saying goes, only he who knows it knows how it actually feels. So
Mhm.
if women are excluded and then some of these problems directly affects them, so of course the solution will be good, but then it will not be as expected as if a lady is in that position to make that decision on behalf of the other ladies, because they
Mhm.
know how it feels and then they know what they are going through. They actually know everything within themselves. And then
Mhm.
also when it comes to let's say helping the society as a whole, like when it comes to women are like they easily show empathy, and then they're so considerate, and then I guess women always have brilliant ideas. So I
Mhm.
think if I say the people, some of my colleagues in office, they're like, this is the whole idea of this. I'm having this whole idea of family, but that's not the case. But actually,
Mhm.
women are just blessed with some of those skills. And then if they're involved, I guess some of these data driven solutions, or technologies that have been implemented, if women are involved, things will be more efficient and then more effective, I guess. Yeah, and then
Really.
one thing, yeah, sure. Women just need to be inclusive in whatever it's actually good, especially in the aspect of technology, because most of the time they've been affected directly.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I cannot agree more. When women are affected by some of these things, it's important to have women there who are making decisions for other women. Because, like you said, for areas like menstrual hygiene, for example, if you want to integrate technology into stuff like this, you need women talking to women, understanding them to create those solutions for these women. So if no women are in sectors like this, it's going to be difficult. And you also mentioned another thing that women have this different kind of intelligence, kind of empathy, and a sense of community, sort of. It kind of make the solutions more human and
Yeah,
deeply connected to the
definitely.
community. Was there any moment that you felt like giving up? Maybe because of gender expectations or technical technical
Yeah,
challenges.
definitely. A lot
What
of
kept
times.
you going?
Actually, a lot of times, because I guess some of the let's say at some point, most especially, let's say when it comes to waking up every day and then being in office, like that was actually something, if you're not disciplined, it's not something that you can keep up with. Like you can be
Mhm,
in office, let's say for example, you can be in office every day, but sometimes you can decide not to come on time or whatever for some institutions. But let's say if you're someone, cause what happened is sometimes it's not an issue me being late giving an excuse, but what happened is that's not what I want. Like this is
mhm,
what I sign up for, and this is what I want to do. But sometimes, some days, your body just doesn't feel like you have to be in office. Especially
mhm,
if, as a lady, you're at that point in time whereby you are on your menstrual period. Like some of these side effects, of course, mood swings is one thing. The other thing also, your body, some of the pains that you have to go through. So
mhm,
during those periods, it's not pleasant to wake up from your bed and then going somewhere else in a different direction. And then
mhm,
sometimes I'm like, I think what I can do is, let me just listen to my mom, let me just quit and then decide to work with the government or somebody else and have my salary different from the tech sector. But then also I'm like, what I want also is, I just don't want to build just probably a wealth for myself or for my husband and I. What I want is, I want a generational wealth. I want
mhm,
my kids to come, or other Gambians, and I also want to, not only about the wealth, but I want to create solutions for the Gambia. Like,
mhm,
I just, especially in the healthcare sector, there are a lot of issues, a lot of problems. So these are things that I want, and I think at this point in time, only technology can help me achieve some of those goals that I have, some of those objectives. So if I
mhm,
quit, when will I ever solve that issue? Like, who will solve the problem? I only hope I won't be the one to criticize the solution that he or she has implemented. So the moment
mhm,
I ask myself those type of questions, I'm like, I think it worth it. And then
mhm.
also, the tech sector is just frustrating. And then also, let's say, for example, another thing also could be, let's say you're giving a tax, right? Like, we all know how, let's say, some of our leaders are actually, but then the best
Mhm,
leaders in the world, right? So you've been given a
mhm,
tax, you get to deliver, you think that, oh, okay, you've given it your best. This is the best thing. You just present, and then wow, everybody just will just upload. And then all of
mhm,
a sudden, you're like, someone just tell you that this is trash. this is not what we wanted. Like it
Mm.
actually kills you from the inside. With all the efforts, all the pressure that you've put in, and then just hear from someone that it's trash. Like it doesn't make any sense. Like that is so hard, disheartening. So some of those points, I'm like, okay, why not I just quit? Why not I just stop with, like, I have my degree, I have another backup plan, I can go and work for so and so company. But then if I think of what I want to provide for the Gambia, what I want to do for my country, what the legacy I want to leave behind any day that
Mhm.
I'm no more alive, like it just keeps me going.
It's inspiring. It's really incredible how passionate you are and how persistent you are. And I think some of these problems are real. You know, sometimes you don't feel like going to the office, but tech sectors should have, an alternative of working from home. No, I think
Definitely,
that is
honestly,
how
yeah.
flexible it is.
Definitely, honestly, I guess. Sorry to actually step into that. I think we could actually start that culture whereby we can work from home. Because what happens is, let's say, the time it takes for you to reach at your workplace, especially now that some of us live very far, it's like 2 hours earlier, like from 6 or 6:30 till 8:30 or till 9, you cannot reach at your office. So I think that time could have been used for something else. Like you could use that to finish some of your tasks. You could use that to make some research. Like I think we just have to, some of these companies, or some, I know most companies do that, but let's say some of these companies in the Gambia, I think it's high time we start adapted to remote jobs. Like you could first report to office probably once in a week,
Hmm.
but if you are able to stay at home, you have your own connection, you become more productive. But then being on the way is so stressful, meeting with people, quarreling here and there, the movements. Before you reach home, your brain is already occupied with something else. So I
Hmm.
guess you raised a really important point, and I hope some people will take take heed actually from here to consider some of us work
Yeah.
from home.
Yeah, we hope that they do, because women sometimes, you
Yeah.
you definitely need to have that alternative to work from home. But Nay, you at Go Minds, how have you used your platform, at Go Minds Academy, at Go Minds Inc. in general, to encourage more girls to see data science as something that they can do?
Okay, interesting, right? So let's say first thing I will start with the academy, right? Because that's where we have a huge number of students, and then from different domains coming to the academy to pursue some of their dreams or some of their careers, right?
Mm,
Let's say one thing is, I always do this with the students that I teach, or even some people that I see that they're really interested with data, with technology, and then trying to find some solutions. Let's say one
mm,
thing is, during we do have presentations like every end of cohort. Like each cohort,
mm,
we have students present, and then you ask them some of these quick questions related to technology. So with the responses that the students give you, you could get to read it. Oh, okay. If this person is given a specific direction or specific mentorship, I
mm,
think they can actually they can just break that part. and then
mm,
and then also when it comes to some of the students you teach in class, right? You see, if you're someone that teaches and then you get to observe the type of students you have, so you see some how curious some students are, and then how willing some students are to go extra mile, and then just not to give you what you ask them for, but then they're willing to put in more effort. So if you see some
mm,
of those qualities between or among students, what we do is that, or let's say personally, have some conversation with them, and then get to orient them or give them advice, or actually a roadmap on some of the, or even question them as to what they want to become in future specifically. So if
mm,
they're like, probably I'm passionate about data science, I'm passionate about this, I'm passionate about that, if that is not my domain, I can refer them to someone else that is an expert in that specific areas.
mm.
But then we don't have much of those people, that sadly, because what happened is, Gambians, I think, one problem is we are not just willing to put in the efforts, and we just want a quick return. So some people are not willing to put in that investment, that time, in order to get to what they want. Another
Mhm,
thing that we also use is, let's say, with the Innovate Her, actually, Innovate Her Gambia. So
mhm.
what we do is but then it's a kind of little bit gender bias, because it's actually for female only, right? For ladies.
That is
So
not
what
a problem, really. I mean, it's fine.
yeah, sure. Because actually, men, I guess for men in general, they have that. Like they've been gifted with that psychology. Like they always know how to get things done. Like they can always figure out things on their own. But as
Mm,
ladies, we are kind of vulnerable, so we just need someone to help us, to guide us. So what we do at Innovate Her is we have some members currently, and then each of those members we ask them to write about what their future careers are, what they're passionate about, what they really want to do in future. And then we see there are a lot of us, some of us in government, in diversified fields. We assign them to some of those mentees. And then currently for me, I'm mentoring those that are passionate about data science. And then
mm,
I have this mentor, and she's doing amazingly well. Like most of the tasks that I've given her, like she's just see I guess she's accomplished all the tasks that's been given, and then I'm supposed to have a meeting with her to ask her some other questions. But then what
mhm,
the problem is, you hardly spot some of those few people among the entire population. And another thing
mm,
also is, let's say back in university when I was studying, before I finished my degree at uni,
mm,
I think that was around my fourth year. So in class, what we do is, especially if we have some of these technical courses or programming courses or some of these advanced mathematics courses,
mm,
what I do is I'm like, okay, guys, I know what we learn is really important, but the technology can help us make things easier. Like I try to show them some other ways. So some people that are willing to put in the effort, they will be in for it. But some people are just so into the old system that it's very difficult for you to bring them back from that old mindset that they have to the current system that we are faced with. Like the mindset is it's an entire Gambian problem, I guess. Like he's seeing people with the right mindset, people
mm.
with goals, people with a lot of ambitions, people that are willing, that are hungry to know the technologies. It's hard to find. And then for me personally, what happened is, it's not like I don't want to deal with people that probably, but then if you don't have the right mindset, I always face it. It's kind of a little bit challenge for me to deal with you. So sometimes I don't even, if I discuss with you once, twice, like you're not willing to understand, or you're not willing to get to the point that I'm trying to explain to you, like I
Mhm.
just actually pack you aside. But then if I see someone is willing to put in the effort, I don't mind sharing the sources, sharing the experience that I have, giving you the motivation, and it's been working. But then sadly, it's just few of them. Like the number is just too small compared to the population.
um that's completely okay. I mean, it's not really the numbers that matters at the end of the day. If you
Yeah.
when you look at things like this, about the quality, it's about using your success to pull as much people as you really can. I think that's what leadership looks like, and you are doing an incredible job at it.
Thank you.
Now let's talk about data itself. For somebody who is not tech oriented, or for people that are not into tech, how have you and your team at Go Minds used data to solve real problems that are affecting the Gambia, that would otherwise go unsolved, maybe without data? Say an example of something that you've personally worked on using data to solve a real problem facing the
Okay,
Gambia.
exactly. That's fine. That's actually amazing. I think I will use an example, let's say, from some of these people working for the government or some people working with the government. Actually, I only hope I won't be arrested for this. Okay, but anyways, that was just a joke. Okay, let's say for example, you have some companies here in the Gambia, because like I just want to use a basic example that people can relate. Like what happened is they have their data. Some companies have their data, but they don't know the value of the data that they have. So what happened is, and then most of those people, let's say some of these people that are operating in
Mm,
these bureaus, or some of these people that are working with the finance industry, not the high level actually, but then people that are dealing with the day-to-day activities of some of these people in the financial sector. So what happened? They have a huge
mm,
amount of data, but then now, or let's just say some of these people in the businesses, because we've solved actually different solutions for those in the financial sector, in the business in general those in the healthcare sector, even some of the ministries like Ministry of Fisheries. We have another institution, or Palestinian NCCRM. We have I think about 6 or 7 of them in different sectors actually. But
mm.
let's say those in businesses, like there's this guy that had a very big business actually, and then what
Okay.
happened is, the guy has a lot of data with his business, but then
Mm,
now he doesn't know any of the business intelligence tools or any of these data tools that he could use to analyze data. In fact, first issue is at trying to get to understand or identify that, okay, I have so and so data, and this data can help me make better decisions for my business. So what happened is, and then now when we approach, first thing what we do is as a company, if we approach people individually, we approach individuals and then we talk to them our data, but then they do not get the sense. So what we tell them is, okay, what you do is give us small portion of the data that you have, and it will show you how powerful it is and how powerful it can help you make decisions from your data. And let's say, for example, Gambia International Airlines, we want to build a dashboard for them about some of the data that they have currently. Not currently, okay, I think it was past 1 2 years, something like that, right? So now
Okay.
what happened is, and then but for them, getting data was an issue, so we had to synthesize our own data. But then now we made sure that the data matches exactly the type of data that they're collecting, not exactly the same, but then let's say some of the fields communicate the same thing. So we built a
Mhm.
dashboard, and then from there, when we presented it to them, it's like, okay, they could say, for example, let's say month of January or during Hajj time, they have
Mhm.
a lot of customers, a lot of people that are going for Hajj in Mecca. But then
Mhm.
now what happened is they've been collecting data of, let's say, 2021, 22, 23, 24, 25. And then now 2026 is coming. So now what happened is almost every year they face with a lot of issues. Probably, let's say, when it comes to a lot of traffic congestion, like a lot of people trying to get a ticket at the same time. So that's the
Okay.
issue. And that's because they cannot predict the exact number of people that they're supposed to get this year. So what we did is we build a dashboard and we are like, okay, we have a predictive model for them. We're like, okay, next year around, let's say, during Hajj time, let's say, for example, around January or February, you're
Mhm.
expected you're expecting around, if you used to get 500 people clients, you're expecting to get 700 clients. So now with that, they can get to leverage some of those solutions and be like, okay, some of the staff that are in so and so department could be brought to this department in
Mhm.
order to help them be more efficient in their works. But then now those people are not data literate. But then based, because what happened, when one amazing thing about analytics is you represent the information you're communicating in visual format. And as much as those
Mhm.
people do not get the sense of what the data is communicating, but they see it in charts. Okay, they're like, of course, if someone is an illiterate, if they see a tall bar and a short bar, they can be able to make a correlation between the two. So that's how we
Mhm.
did it with them. And then, of course, they were convinced, oh, okay, so with the data that we have, our own data, it could help us predict that, okay, next year we're supposed to have so and so client, this department will be the busiest, so we need to get some people from the other department to help us so that our work will be more efficient and none of our activities will be interrupted. And then we
Mhm.
did that with some of these financial institutions actually. I think we built a dashboard for the bank, and then also GT board, Gambia Tourism Board, to help them
Mhm.
analyze some of the data of the tourists that are coming to the Gambia and some of the
Mhm.
reasons that are making them come to the Gambia, most importantly. So, and then
Mhm.
also how Gambia Tourism Board could have benefited or would have been, let's say, okay, tourists are coming because of probably our beaches and some of these other wildlife and then nature reserves. So what we
Mhm.
could do is we have to make sure that some of those areas are more equipped, like some of the facilities are being maintained, like a lot of new things are being added to make sure tourists, because tourists come to the Gambia because of so and so. So what can
Okay.
we improve some of those sectors so that we could have more tourists in the Gambia? And these are all things that we visualize using data. We presented it to them, we show it to them, communicate it to them, and then they've seen the sense. And then, but then now one issue that we have is most people do not implement that, because that's because some of them do not have the capacity to be able to implement
Mhm.
that. And that is
Mhm.
where the training comes in and then the learning comes in. But then hopefully we'll get there another one day.
Interesting. Listening to this, it's quite interesting, and I'm sure that other girls and women that are passionate about data find it also interesting. You know, using data to connect it to digital solutions with local realities.
Yeah, sure.
It's amazing how much you can do with data and how much you are doing with data at Go Minds. Now, do you think that the Gambia is making enough use of the data that it
We're
has?
having.
Because you know when you look at the data that the Gambia Gambia makes in a day or in a month, it's really huge. Do you think that we're making enough use of it?
I think it's actually, yeah, maybe some companies are or some institutions are. Probably most of the time it's the private, but in public they are not. And then one sad thing is, the saddest thing is they don't even have their data digitalized.
Mm,
Like most data are on pen, are on papers. So that's why you go to some offices, you see bunch of files packed in one cupboard, and they will tell you these are data of 2022, 2020, 2018, 2019. 2021, like, and you're like, okay, if institutions or some of these offices are operating like this, when are we going to have that digitalized Gambia? When are we going to have systems built for Gambian only?
Mm-hmm.
So that becomes a problem. Probably with some institution, let's say in the healthcare sector, you have some private hospitals here. They make best use of their data, of course. They have their systems and everything is digitalized, right? Let's say, for example, Innova X. It may be probably you've been diagnosed with so and so. Once the doctor or someone take your diagnosis and then you go and buy the medication, they just
Mm-hmm.
have to type in your name and they see everything that's been affected. But if you go to
Mm-hmm.
Banjul Hospital, that's not the case. What happens is you've been diagnosed with so and so disease. It's been written on a piece of paper and given to you. So you give it to your doctor. So what happens? Doctor will do what he or she is supposed to do with you, and then the paper is packed there. Probably after 1 year or 2 years, I don't even know what they do with the data. So the issue is like there are a lot of, and the data is another problem is data is fragmented. Right? You have
Mm-hmm.
data in different places. Some people have them in their personal computers, or they have them in their other PCs, or they have them in different areas. So we do not have that centralized system to accommodate all the data that we put. So it becomes a very big issue. And then one thing, we are not making best use of the data because we could have moved to another level by now if we utilize the data that we have. But
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately, I don't know if it is the people leading some of these institutions or some of these ministries that are not, like, Gambians themselves are not willing to adapt. Adaptability is an issue. Change is a problem. We do not want to embrace change. And that's a
Mm-hmm.
very big issue that we are faced with. And it's never easy. And then what happens is most of the time when we're finding some solutions for some of these institutions, we always synthesize our own data because we don't even have their own data. You go to them, they will tell you some of the data are in these computers, some are in these papers, some are in these files. Like you don't even know where the data are. So you just have to understand some of the components that they deal with. Then you come and make research on those and come up with your own data. Then you build a dashboard, a solution for them, and present it to them. Now, if they're interested, they give you the green light, you build a real solution for them. Yeah, but we are not making best use of the data.
Indeed, these are problems. And how do you think that this issue can be addressed? How do you see what policies do you think are needed in order to make the data that we have, to make data science more mainstream in the Gambia?
Okay, I think one thing is this has to do with government. It has to do with the highest level. One thing is we need to have policies for technology, and we don't currently, right? And then one thing, not just about having policies, but then policies that have been implemented in workplaces. Let's, for
Mhm.
example, first thing is we need to have a roadmap as a country for technology, and we don't have that, and that is a very big issue. Like, you cannot be like, as a country, you want to develop next 5 years, you want to be in this level, you want to compare yourself, let's say, for example, with probably with Rwanda, for example, Africa, right? Or let's say, for
Mhm.
example, you want to compare yourself with US outside of Africa, or you want to compare yourself with other countries. And those people, they want the time they wanted to get into that level, they had a roadmap, they have a guidance, and then they have policies for those roadmaps, and those policies were followed. But in the Gambia, we do not have that. We do not even have a roadmap that like, it's like those in the tech sectors were not even considered. Like, you
Mhm.
see a budget or whatever is coming, you don't hear anything related to technology. And now the greatest investments will have been done on technology. So this has to do with the government. Like, if they take things serious, if they take technology serious, I think, I don't know. And the other issue, it's not like the government don't know the importance of things, because they're traveling every now and then. They know what's happening. But I don't know what
Mhm.
the issue is. Why don't they want Gambia? Why don't they want us to have a digitalized Gambia, to have a developed Gambia technologically? Like, that's just an issue. And I just hope if the government could do us this favor and be able to come up with serious fit policies that people could take serious and be able to adapt. And the first thing is we have to eradicate pen and paper. If that's eradicated, things will go digital. And then
Mhm.
one that thing too, we need to have systems. Because in as much as you eradicate pen and paper, you need to have a system for it. You need to have a replacement for those, a complement. But in as long as we're not willing to go extra mile to that level, it will always be an issue. And then that's why most of us are giving up now. Some of us now, if I have the opportunity to travel, I will have to travel.
Oh no! Hopefully, we are going to have some of these policies and structures
Yeah.
in the Gambia in the near future. We don't really want to lose some of you, so don't go there. Hopefully, we will have development in these
Mm-hmm.
sectors,
Yeah, sure. I hope
inshallah,
so.
in the near future.
Inshallah.
Now, when you talk about structure and policies as well, we also don't also have to forget that we also need more. data professionals who are
Yeah,
going to deal with some
definitely.
of these things. Now, how do you think that young Gambians can build careers in data science, in data analytics? Even if they don't have access to advanced tools or trainings in their own ways, how do you think that they can start building careers in data, especially women?
Okay. I think that is now it's not even an issue right now. I think that's where some institutions like Government Academy comes in, right?
Mhm.
So when Government Academy started, it just didn't provide many IT courses or whatever, just make it this open. We specialize in some of these areas that are truly demanding, right? We,
Mhm.
let's say, digital marketing, graphics design, data analytics, data science, cyber security, right? These are courses that we specialize in because we know that these courses are the future. If you are well equipped with some of these courses, then I think you will always survive no matter where technology gets into. Another thing
Mhm.
also is, in as much as probably you don't have the money or the resources to enroll in some of these institutions, what you could do is just just look for someone that has crossed that path, someone that's actually in so and so field that you're interested in, and then get
Mhm.
connected with them, learn from them, see what are some of the breakthroughs that they have done, some of the encounters they face, and how they overcome some of those problems. And then if you do that with time, like you will get there. Like you just need to have a mentor, and then also, but then most importantly, get enrolled, because once you're enrolled in an institution, let's say some of these edtech institutions that provide professional skills or digital skills or sorry, someone was calling, so my internet, I got an internet issue. So
That's
if
okay.
you're able to enroll in some of these institutions, I think it's great. And I think one problem that we face with as Gambians, or that our parents actually, I think this has to do with parental level. Like, my
Mhm.
child has finished school, so and so, you don't talk to them or ask them what they're actually interested in. Probably
Mhm.
you think that joining, putting them in so and so institution or a training institution or whatever, or hotel school, it's going to be the best for them. But well, that's not the child's dream. That's not what they really want. So
Mhm.
communicate to them and ask what they want, and look for institutions that are providing those services. And then when it comes to Government Academy, I guess it's actually one of the best institutions that you could ever enroll into in the Gambia. Still, if you don't have that, just look for a mentor. Find someone that you could look up to, someone that you could communicate to, and then, yeah. Now in this era of technology, it's not difficult to get to where you want. It depends
Mhm.
on the efforts you put in and how curious you are. You could even use ChatGPT as your mentor, and you're good to go.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Now, what do you think of, let's just put it all together because we are running out of time
Yeah, sure.
now. What do you think is the future of, what do you think that the future of data science, how do you think that the future of data science looks in the Gambia? Say in the next 5 or 10 years, how do you think data science is going to be like in the Gambia for
Oh.
people that are aspiring to be in data?
Yeah, sure, definitely. I think this question most of the time being asked by students. Let's say some students that really want to enroll in for data analytics and then or data science. So what happened is, first of all, get to ask yourself this before I come to where the future lies, right? Or hopefully where we think we'll get in the next 5 years or next 10 years to come. So what happened is, right now, Gambia, when it comes to data science, like, it's not that demanding, because what happens when it comes to data science, it has to do with a lot huge amount of data. You have to deal with a massive of data. But in data
Mhm.
analytics, it's really marketable, right? Because even small institutions just want to analyze or make best use of their data. But then
Mhm.
now, the reason why analytics, of course, it's an important area, but then why good data science will take over is, when it comes to analytics, some of the things that you do, let's for example building charts, doing analysis or whatever, now ChatGPT can do that for you. You could have a chatbot on your system that could generally do literally what an individual would have done on analytics. But then now
Mhm.
what happens is, when it comes to data science, now building models, for example, for, let's say, I will use the healthcare system as an example. And then
Mhm.
currently, I guess governments have come up with a specific solution on breast cancer. Like, it's actually an AI system that helps detect if an image that's been uploaded, the image of the breast, whether that person is prone to cancer or not. And then
Mhm.
now all those things are data science and AI integrated. So what happened is, for now, it's not going to be as we wanted, as much, let's say, it's of course it's really valuable, but then the impact is not going to be much because we do not have the data. But then now what
Okay.
happens is companies, or let's say the healthcare sector, they are all looking up to, sorry, let me just get this, cancel this. So now what happened? They know these systems exist. And then the only issue for us to be able to, or the only solution for us to be able to use this is we need to have the data in hand. We need to have the data available. So
Mm-hmm.
now every institution is trying to make sure that, I mean, some of these private institutions and some people that are willing to adapt to the newest technology, they know
Mm-hmm.
that, okay, if I have my own data, I can have so and so system. So
Okay.
now they are also trying their level best to make sure their data are digitalized, their data are put in one centralized repo. So now what happens is, if you have as much data as possible in different warehouses or in different one lakes or whatever, wherever our data repos are, if you have
Mm-hmm.
those things, what we need people that will build the models for those, some of those solutions. And then now, of
Okay.
course, those are the data scientists. Those are the data science experts with probably some AI engineers. But then now, if you're not well equipped with that, and you just have some basic digital tools, is you just have here against 2 or 3 years to come or 4 years to come for you to be eradicated from the market, because now the skills you have doesn't become relevant anymore. But if
Mm-hmm.
you're in the data science sector, you know that you have to deal with models, you have to deal with, because data science is really about solving problems, providing solutions. You have to provide solutions. It could be in any sector: finance sector, health sector, agricultural sector, most important agriculture and education sector. We have a
Mm-hmm.
lot of problems in hand, but data are not yet available. And then once the data are available here against next 3 years to come, now that's where data scientists now becomes really important in the ecosystem, because now they'll be really demanded. Yeah.
Indeed. I'm afraid we are running out of time. This has been
Yes,
an
sure.
interesting discussion. This has been really interesting. I learned a lot, and I hope that our viewers have learned a lot. But one last question I am going to ask is,
Mhm.
what is one piece of advice that you often share with young women who are trying to enter into data or tech in general?
Okay, I think, okay, that's really interesting. First thing is, as be let's say this is going to be general, be it a lady or a male or whatever, but let's say specifically ladies, because
Mm-hmm.
men sometimes they're curious, but then curiosity is the most important thing. You have to be curious. Let's say, as a lady, you've seen so and so technology, you have to know, okay, why is this technology built? What is the purpose? What can I use it for? Like, if you get to ask yourself those questions, that's where now it pushes you to make more research. And the more you make research, the more aware you are, the more you're like, okay, you think outside the box. You need to be curious. Another thing also is, at least most important, is have a mentor. And I think that's a problem that we are faced with in the Gambia. Let's say someone wants to be a data scientist, and you hardly see someone, a female, specialized in data science. Maybe there are some, but some people are just hidden. You don't even know that they existed, even
Mm-hmm.
from the first place. So you need to look up. But then, if you are learning, you will not. You should not be lazy. You have to put in the effort. So try to
Mm-hmm.
find that someone, even if it is not a lady, but you could know a man. Probably that man have known, or that guy has known someone else that he or she
Okay.
can direct you to.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So you have to be curious. You need to get a mentor, and then also, most importantly, you need to be willing to learn. Like, you have to learn no matter what, how tough things get, but just learn new things. And now technology is here to complement our jobs. Now, let's say,
Mm-hmm.
for example, the aspect of coding, you're not supposed to go and, probably those days you will sit and then learn probably variables, whatever, XYZ. But then now, with the advancement of technology, you do not need to sit and then do that. Just get the concept, understand the concept, the technologies that you're supposed to use, and then use some of these AIs. They help you find a solution. I
Mm-hmm.
guess, yeah, those are some of the points that one needs to stick to. Yeah, sure. And then make research as much as possible. And then one thing also very important thing is be disciplined. Like, you're gonna start something one day, today you will not do it, next day you want to do this. You're gonna be jack of all trade. Stick to one thing and then be disciplined. Be consistent in that thing. If you're
Mm-hmm.
disciplined, you see the outcome. But you're gonna also see this outcome on a short period of time. So you have to be patient. You have to be willing to put in those efforts. Yeah.
Indeed. Be curious, put in the work, and be consistent. This conversation has been incredible. It has been mind opening. It has been very educative. And, not just because of what you do, but why you do what you do. You've kind of shown us that technology is not just about systems and screens, about people empowering them to create solutions for their communities. Thank you so much for talking to us today. Thank you so much, really, for being with us today.
Thank you so much, Awa, and the entire Alkamba Times team. Thank you so much. And they're the one that covered my story, actually.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
I saw
exactly.
that. I have
So
seen that.
definitely. So thank you so much to you and your entire team. You guys are doing incredible jobs, and I hope that we will stick into following some of the programs that you guys do, and then be willing to put in the effort, and then so that we be able to make an impact.
Indeed. Thank you and have a
Thank you
blessed
so much.
evening.
All right. Thank you.
Viewers, that was Samu today on this episode of Women in STEM, talking about women in data science for sustainable digital solutions. You know, listening to her reminds me, and I hope it has reminded you, that technology is not really about, machines and codes. It's really about the people. It's about the ideas that start small and end up changing lives. So her journey has shown us what can happen when Gambians, especially young Gambian women, are given the chance to explore some of these fields: science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And here on Women in STEM, that's what we celebrate every week: women that are using their expertise, that are using innovation to build a better Gambia. I am Awa Kante, and thank you so much for watching today's episode. I hope that it has inspired you to dream big, to learn, and to do. I'll see you again next weekend for another interesting episode. Thank you and have a pleasant evening.